Greetings. I know I say that every week, but I'm a friendly guy. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Discussions. I do believe that this is Discussions number 80, I think.
80.
79 was last week, right? Wow. Discussions number 80. Volume, well, I think it's still volume 8. Yeah, because we're still in July. It is what? Saturday, July. What the
30th? 30th.
July 30th, 2011. And we are coming to you from the one and only, the newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. And I am here with my co-host and mentor, the one and only, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you, sir, today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Unfortunately, we are going to have 90-degree plus weather for the whole week starting today, but today's dry. It's not as humid, but I hate humidity. But the lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer, what do they call them? The dog days of summer? You know, the end of
summer, yeah.
The end of July and the beginning of August is the dog days. It has to do with the dog star or something. If you look into history, but it's the hottest time of the year. And Monday is me birthday. The guy you're looking at now, James Piranha Madonna of Mega Life 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet. August the 1st. I am a Leo. It is this Monday. What a boring day of the week for me to have my birthday. Monday? Give me a break.
Monday is the day that people have most heart attacks.
Yeah, because look at the shit that their office, when they go to work on Monday, look at all the crap that they find on their desk.
They have to go back to work.
They have to. Well, not only that, it's the beginning of the work week is usually the busiest time. So people are discombobulated, you know. Well, excuse me. Oh, by the way, this is me prop. My imported Blackthorn shillelagh from Ireland, the weapons grade shillelagh, which is not to be confused with the walking stick shillelagh, because we need hardcore. I wanted something hardcore, and it is literally hardcore. Hopefully destined for the skulls, for the noggins of right-wing conservatives. Now,
Tea Party
idiots, liars. The great American hoax, like last week's show, right? The great American hoax perpetrator.
Destroyers of the U.S. government.
And perpetrator of the great American lie that was laid upon the middle class, especially last November when the middle class lemmings voted in a conservative Congress. Now, before I get to the nitty-gritty here, I just would like to say, excuse me, I have my reading glasses on. Okay, I apologize. I found it amusing concerning. I just want to mention a few observations I made this past week. When Obama had the great debt a debate with the Weeper of the House, John Bonehead Boehner. I noticed Obama was wearing a conservative Republican red tie, and which is his "let us all get along bipartisanship compromise" tie. He wanted to look conservative. You notice that? The red tie, all right? He couldn't wear a blue tie to represent the Democratic Party. Oh no, he could have. And John, Weeper of the House, conservative Republican, John Boehner, was wearing a beautiful Daddy Warbucks money-grubbing emerald green tie, which represents, in my opinion, the greed of the conservatives. Which green, money. Even though I love the color emerald green is a beautiful color, but it also is kind of universally used for moolah, which is what Republicans do. They worship the almighty dollar, the bottom line, which is idolatry, idol worship. So, perfect color for John Boehner. But still, today's Democrats, like Obama, are still obsessed with getting conservatives to like them, to get their approval, kissy ass, if you want to call it that, with his compromising red tie. Anyway, of course, what John Boehner says about destroying jobs, that tax hikes destroy jobs, but he doesn't mention, of course, that he's talking about tax hikes on the rich, not on the middle class, because the tax burden is still on the middle class, and the poor hasn't left. So it's a big lie, of course. The only jobs that are created, Republicans and conservative Republicans out there, and conservative Democrats, the only jobs that are created happen to be in India and mainland China, not in the United States. Our American jobs are still being outsourced, and cutting taxes for the rich never did and never will create jobs in the United States. It just perpetuates their greed. Okay, and now I have noticed that I saw something on the news, on the local New Jersey news, concerning solar energy, and they said that New Jersey is second only to California in solar energy, as in the use of solar panels, which kind of shocked me, because the United States has a lot of areas that receive more intense solar radiation than the northeastern state of New Jersey does. I mean, God, Arizona, New Mexico, some parts of Texas, Florida, I guess Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, the Gulf Coast. Nevada. Doesn't surprise me with California, because you have Death Valley, you have the Mojave Desert.
New Mexico?
Yeah, New Mexico. Yeah, I mean, probably, hundreds of thousands of acres?
Sure.
Or tens of thousands of acres. I mean, we're talking about desert and flat land with no shade whatsoever in the southwest United States. I mean, Utah probably has some flat, hot areas, some arid.
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake.
What's that? Salt Lake, the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah, where the Mormons are.
Where they have those races with the, the powered cars.
I mean, but there are some areas, I know, like in Utah, that are desert-like, similar to New Mexico.
And then all this is Mojave, and you got the
Sonoran Desert of Arizona and New Mexico, and then you have the area where Roswell is, the infamous Roswell. I think that's eastern New Mexico, near the Texas Panhandle, and that's flat desert with tumbleweeds and everything. Perfect candidates for solar power, for solar panels. Why New Jersey is number 2 in the nation is beyond me. Anyway, but it's a good idea, because now in New Jersey I'm seeing solar panels on the telephone poles in New Jersey. As I'm driving, I'm seeing every telephone pole with a solar panel. So I think that's pretty cool to see that. But what bothers me is that, okay, people in the Northeast that want to put solar panels on the roof of their home, I hear that raises their property taxes, like my friend Iron Man Vinny Blake told me in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. They wanted to jack up his property taxes for going green. So and he said, "Screw this! I'm not going green."
Well, there's some sort of
What a bunch of crooks.
subsidy that you get from PSC&G, and I guess the Southern Public Service thing for putting the solar panels
Yeah.
up. And if you can also sell your electricity back.
Right, so you can each,
To them.
so it can supplement, it can take money off your electric bill, or you can sell it depending on how many panels you have. And of course, the second largest waterfall on the East Coast in Paterson, New Jersey, there's an old-time hydroelectric plant there, and they should open that up. But what I'm afraid is PSC&G is going to, like with Chris Christie as governor, is going to take complete control of that hydroelectric plant and take that free power, free electricity, and sell it back to the people, to the locals.
Yeah.
And it should help
belong to the people. It's the commons.
Right. As the water falls at the waterfall, the hydroelectric plant, which will produce free electricity, should be used to lower the electric bills of Paterson and Passaic County, New Jersey residents, and not be controlled and privatized by a power company.
Well, remember what they said
PSE&G of New Jersey.
Remember what they said about nuclear power years ago.
What did they say?
Too low to meter. The cost would be too low to meter.
Really?
Yeah, I doubt that. And of course, with nuclear power, you don't even have the cost of the real problems, like the waste.
Oh yeah, what do you do with the waste?
And the fact that over here at Indian Point, if some idiot jihadist, drives a plane into it, we're all dead.
Or look
over here in New Jersey and everything, because, the radiation goes beyond the 20-mile limit.
Well, look what happened with Japan.
Yeah.
With the earthquake.
Fukuyama.
Don't they think of these things? Don't they think long
term? What about
term?
Chernobyl? You can't go near that anymore.
It's still contaminated after all these years?
It will be contaminated for thousands of years.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was watching Man vs. Food with Adam Richman, and he was at a place called a famous seafood restaurant in New Orleans called the Acme. I think the Acme Oyster House, but I'm sure that episode was filmed before the Gulf oil spill, the BP catastrophe, and they're talking about all the fish that's sold in the Acme Oyster House is from the Gulf, local seafood, and from what I understand, the bottom of the Gulf is still dead, right? From the oil.
Certain portions of it is.
They're not telling people that.
Yeah.
And then of course they got the commercial, the commercial shrimp boat owner that's giving compliments to BP like they're so compassionate and magnanimous, which will never happen with a big corporation. Anyway, the title of the show, I wanted to hit below the belt because I noticed that still to this day the most stupidest, ridiculous, asinine videos on the internet are getting millions of hits, and people in America do not, maybe the world, but alright, let's just say America, still do not care about important issues that are destroying their future, destroying their present, destroying America and the world, and so on and so on, the planet. People are not interested in educating their minds and saving their asses. They're preoccupied with playing and entertainment and just talking shit, and it's really unbelievable how stupid people really are, the average folk. So I want to call this God is anti-capitalism. and conservatives are counterfeit Christians. Well, that's a given. But why do I say God is anti-capitalism? Well, I'm glad you asked me, even though you didn't do it. I'm going to read some verses. Actually, they're from the Bible. And what the Bible really says, by the way, not what a Republican would tell you that the Bible says. I want to start off by reading, not the first one, but there's one concerning what I just said before about God being anti-capitalism. I want to read this. I want to read a bunch. Okay, here we go. Quote, "As a nail sticks fast between the joinings of stones, so does sin stick close to buying and selling." Okay, unquote. Ecclesiastes chapter 27, verse 2. Look it up, lazy people. Okay, right from the Bible. That's plain and straightforward. God's not too crazy about buying and selling, and in the case of conservatives, it is buy low and sell high,
yeah.
and deregulate companies so they have the right to rob you. So that's it. That's the first verse right there. That explains. God don't like capitalism. All right, now, then of course there are the other dandies like he that oppresses the poor to increase his riches, and he that gives to the rich shall surely come to want. That's Proverbs chapter.
Doesn't that
let me finish. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 16. Yes,
doesn't
sir.
that cover tax cuts for the rich?
Yes.
Yeah.
At welfare, Wall Street bailouts,
Subsidies for big corporations.
Right. Welfare for the rich. Okay, and here's a dandy. Here's another one. Bible's loaded with pro-poor, anti-rich verses. Quote, "He that makes haste to be rich shall not be innocent." Proverbs chapter 28, verse 20. Proverbs, okay. "He that makes haste to be rich shall not be innocent." And that's the bottom line motivated right-wing conservative politicians that are in bed with greedy, evil corporate CEOs, and everybody today in the me generation graduating from Harvard business school that are willing to sell out their own mother, father, grandmother, grandfather just to get ahead. Doesn't that include Machiavelli?
Well, that covers what the financial system, Wall Street, did to us in 2008, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
They were making haste to become rich.
I mean, I had a friend tell me recently that when in partners with another promoter involved in pro wrestling, it seems like pro wrestling promoters, I can't speak for the country, but in the state of New Jersey, they're quite sleazy, and they expect me to do color commentary for them and not compensate me. So I told them, remember what the old Chinese woman said many years ago, "No ticky, no washi." I want my ticky, man. I want my fucking ticky. Otherwise, why should I use up all that expensive gas to follow them around and do filming and edit the video and everything and do color commentary and talk and do everything without pay? Well, that goes along with what he had said, which was very Machiavellian. You know, the ends justify the means. He made a statement like, "We must do what we can to make the company grow." So that sounded like Machiavelli to me. I mean, how did that sound to you, Dr. Bill?
Well, how does a country grow if you hurt its people?
Or its employees?
Its employees or its supporters. That seems short-term thinking as far as I'm concerned.
And that's what screwed the United States against Japan. Japan decided not to be short-term anymore. I think it was the CEO of Sony Corporation. He changed everything around. Now then there's the other verse Oh, the Bible's loaded with anti-rich, pro-poor information.
Why don't you, do you have the one?
Jesus?
Yeah, do you have the one where Jesus tells the rich man what the hell?
Yeah, I'm going to read that.
Okay.
Okay. Over here, misguided Christians believe that the rich are rich because they are doing the will of God, that they are blessed by God. Bible-thumping red staters adhere to these platitudes which are not found in the Bible. God's economics are a far cry from our present-day setup. Micah, chapter 4.
Micah.
Micah, is that any relation to 4 Micah?
Micah 4:4.
4 Micah countertops? I'm only kidding. Yeah, 4:4, chapter 4, verse 4. In the Bible, the rich man asked Jesus, quote, What shall I do to inherit eternal life? Question mark. I have kept the commandments, Jesus said. Quote, sell what you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. Unquote. Quote, the man was sad. The rich man, the man was sad because he had great possessions. Unquote. He didn't want to do it. Jesus said, quote, how hard it is for them who trust in riches to enter the kingdom of God, unquote, which is Mark chapter 10, verses 17 through 24, and then there's Matthew chapter 19, verses 17 through 20, and then there's Luke chapter 18, verses 22 through 23. The rich cannot make God number one in their lives. They lack the empathy and compassion to treat and uplift the poor as God commands. God warns in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 4. Quote, labor not to be rich. Cease from your own wisdom. Unquote. And then there's helping, let's see, the rich helping the rich. Let me see if there's any Bible quote here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Quote, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, which is like the false prophet, the great white horse, right? Which is like the conservative Tea Party.
It's like what you said in the beginning there. They believe that because they are rich, they're blessed by God. It's just the opposite.
It's a lie, yeah. That was Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20 through 21. The Bible speaks of a falling away in the end times and false religion. A counterfeit Christianity would abound. Right-wing conservative Republicans, okay? Tea Party liars, okay? The white horse in Revelation 2, Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, Matthew chapter 24. Today it is evident that a false religion, a counterfeit Christianity guides the Republican Party. And of course your sellout blue dog Democrats. All right. And then, but this it goes on and on and on and on. There are lots of information, chock full.
All right. So is it any wonder that the right-wing religious nuts are out to change what the Bible says? Because they don't particularly care for all this, stuff for the poor, and they want to make it more conservative friendly.
Well, they don't realize that the last chapter of the Bible, the book of Revelations, pretty much warns them about he who adds to this book or takes away anything from this book.
Obviously they don't care about that, do they?
Shall get their asses fried,
kicked,
basically. I mean, so anyway,
they're interested in the here and now. They're not interested in,
Now, the sin of Job is also very similar to conservatives today, too, right? Vanity, pride, self-righteousness.
Yeah, they know it all.
Yeah. Now, what you were saying in the God Project concerning the sin of Job, I know that there are other parts of that where there's a certain time frame when Satan has the conversation with God, and then Satan starts to take away certain things from Job, you know, his wealth, whatever, his wife, his children. There's a certain time frame in that story, but I noticed you kind of summarized the story of Job. You abbreviated it, but I know that it's longer than you know, your article. So you...
Well, yeah, Job wrote, I think there's like 40 chapters or some 38 chapters.
Yeah, so you basically, you summarized it and
Sure.
explained it. Now, oh, by the way, Harold Camping is still on the air doing his thing.
Well, he's on till October 2021.
And then if he's wrong, he's on
Then he'll still be on
for
here.
another year. Oh, oops, I made a miscalculation. Hey, we haven't, instead of the cross of the miraculous kudzu plant in the shape of a cross, now we have these steel girders from the late World Trade Center. They found steel girders
Like a cross,
in
yeah.
the shape of a cross. So now Christian holy roller right-wing fundamentalists feel that this is a sacred omen left by God or something, and then they're saving the girder in the shape of a cross. And atheists and everybody who is not Christian, that of course probably the families of victims who died in the World Trade Center disaster, there are many other cultures and religions of people that died in the World Trade Center. And New York City is very multicultural and multi-religious, and between Jews and Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists, right, and atheists. You have to respect them because they pay taxes. But oh no, the right-wing fundamentalist religious nuts, they don't. They want to shove their version of God down everybody's throat, and they want to spend taxpayers' money. Little do they know, and it was said on local New York station Channel 11. I don't know if Lionel said it, but I was listening. He was talking about it. No one has the right to spend 1 penny of taxpayers' money because no one has yet been able to prove that their God exists. As long as no one can prove that their God exists, you have no right to spend 1 penny of taxpayers' money for faith-based initiatives. And that is it. I am done.
It doesn't even have to go that far, because the Constitution of the United States, the First Amendment, states they can't establish any religion. The government.
Right. Correct.
So.
Correct.
And what do we have? We have faith-based initiatives.
Apparently, yeah.
In the federal government and in the states. New Jersey has an Office of Faith-Based Initiatives.
Really?
Yeah.
New Jersey has this?
New Jersey has one, yes.
Let me guess.
It's on the website.
Conservative Chris Christie helped get this going.
No, it was done before that.
Before Christie?
Yep.
Really?
Sure, during the Bush administration.
And so they want to spend the tax dollars of all different American citizens, including non-Christians and atheists, to fund this because they want to shove their form of Christianity down everybody's throat. Their form of Christianity, right?
Of course, they don't say it like that.
Then what is their motive?
They make believe that they would be helping other religions too, but
really,
when you look at the programs, you'll see that the great vast majority of any money is going to what they call Christian.
Well, I got mad. I got very upset with the Renaissance man Ken Create one time because he's a fundamentalist, and I told him, I says, how dare say that people that are different from what you guys believe in, other religions, everybody's damned to hell, to burn in hell. The Hindus and everybody's a lost soul, damned to burn in hell for eternity. That's not like you. I said, what makes you people think you can judge others that are different from you? What if somebody's got a very good and pure heart, is a very nice person, but he happens to be a Buddhist, Oh, he happens to follow the Dalai Lama or whatever. He's from Tibet. Well, what does that mean? That he deserves to burn in hell because he happens to
but
be Buddhist
there's a
or
greater
Hindu? Yeah.
there's a greater issue involved there. There is no hell. So what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah,
See what I mean? If you allow that person to continue in his illusion, they come up with all kinds of stupid ideas and things like that. But there is no hell in the Bible.
Well, these are the rapturists.
That's Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
the Divine Comedy.
Yeah, they believe in the eternal soul that flies out of the body and it's going to be raptured up in the sky. Everything's in the sky. New Jerusalem is going to be suspended in the sky. Nothing is going to be on the planet and blah, 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 blah. That's what this mentality comes from. And if you have an immortal soul, like the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisman always says, then there is no need for a resurrection. So, anyway, I am sure you have some good articles this week.
Oh, I have one here, a letter. And I will be able to read the person's name at the end. Because I have permission.
I want to say one last thing that I forgot to say. Thank you very much, conservative Republican Governor of New Jersey, Crisco Balloon Boy Christie, for closing the Department of Motor Vehicles in various areas of the state and creating extremely long lines at the current local DMVs, motor vehicle. One woman was waiting a grand total of let's see, 3.5 hours. I think she was outside in the hot, humid weather, the heat and humidity and the sun, for an hour and a half. When she got inside, they told her she needed to wait 2 more hours inside. So I guess that's a grand total of 3.5 hours. I'm sure Chris Christie and his cronies and rich friends do not have to ever wait online. Interesting. And then they want to close some post offices. I'm sure the conservatives are behind that. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That the lines at the post offices will become very long?
Oh, indeed.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Gee,
of course.
But these fat cat politicians don't have to wait online for anything. I'm sure they don't.
No, they're different than we are.
They're blessed by God because they're rich and lazy.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. And they're special.
That's called self-righteousness.
Elitism. Didn't the old days of monarchy? Didn't the rich, the royal families feel that way?
Yeah.
You know, the commoners.
Well, that's what we have today, a neo-feudalism.
Neo-feudalism. Yeah.
So
anyway, start off by this very special article written by a very special individual, and you'll find out what I mean by that.
Governor Christie, speaking of the devil, appeared at the home of an elderly woman from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, the other day, to tout his property tax rebate program that his new budget supports. The Senior Freeze program supposedly paid the elderly homeowner $2,000, and she received another $415 under the Homestead Rebate Program. What Christie failed to mention throughout his choreographed event was that tenants who were elderly or disabled were thrown out of both programs as a result of governor's cuts in the budget. I am aware of a senior citizen who is also disabled who was once eligible to receive the homestead rebate and senior freeze checks. 2 years ago, he received $910 from the homestead rebate program and $6.01 from the senior freeze program. This year, he received nothing. Christie put on a big show about one person's luck, while thousands of other seniors and the disabled who counted on those checks go wanting. Christie's event was nothing more than a balloon filled with hot air. William J. Eisenman, Lodi, New Jersey.
That's my co-host here and mentor and founder of newsletter Uncensored in 1977, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, once in a while, periodically writes articles for our local newspaper, the Bergen County Record. How about that? Great articles. Congratulations. Another gem, another feather in the cap of Dr. Bill. So true, so true. People are really better off with Chris Christie. Oh, Chris Christie had an asthma attack the other day.
Yeah, we're gonna find out about it here. I got more.
I thought at first
I got more on the old guy.
First I thought his attack came from guilt of him closing all these soup kitchens and pantries.
I thought that too.
And taking food out of the mouths of poor children. I thought all that guilt accumulated and manifested itself into an anxiety attack or something, but apparently it was an asthma attack, and they showed him without his sports jacket, without his suit, and he looks like he's getting more rotund.
Actually, he said he lost some weight.
Yeah, when he took his jacket off. When he takes his shoes off at home and puts his slippers on, he probably lost a little more. You know.
That might be it.
When he takes a shower, he loses even more.
That might be it.
Then he gains it back when he puts his clothes back on.
Governor Christie signed an official proclamation in May to raise awareness about asthma in New Jersey that explained how asthma attacks can lead to significant restrictions of activity, hospitalization, or even death.
It's scary when you can't breathe, sure.
Thursday, he found himself in the hospital after suffering from breathing difficulties believed to be tied to his own asthma.
Yeah.
Christie, 48, has had to deal with questions about his health, primarily struggles with weight, since the former U.S. attorney entered public life about a decade ago. He has talked openly about suffering from asthma, and referred to his own experiences and his use of an inhaler, while highlighting the need to change the state's health benefit plans this year. I wonder if that's something he cut.
There you go.
That?
Well, everything's cut for everybody except him and his rich crony friends.
When I was on the federal plan, paying much more in premiums, my copay at the pharmacy when I went to pick up my inhaler was $55, Christie told an audience at one of his town hall meetings this year. Since I started working for you, I'd go to the pharmacy and pick up my inhaler. It is $15 now, he said. So he's got a better plan as governor of New Jersey.
He has a better plan. He has a better plan.
Yeah.
Not the average American.
Yeah.
That's unemployed.
Yeah, I wonder how much the inhaler is for the average Blow Joe, going there to the pharmacy.
I'm sure Canadians do not get hit with a bill of $50 some odd for their inhaler. Or Europeans.
Asthma has not been the issue most others have focused on when it comes to Christie's health. His struggles with weight have been the most frequent topic the governor has had to address, going back to his 2009 campaign against incumbent John Corzine. A Corzine attack ad used an unflattering image of Christie and the phrase, "threw his weight around."
Well, literally and figuratively, both. Yeah, bully boy, the bully of politics.
It was an accurate ad.
The poster boy for conservatives. Chris Christie is. You know?
It was something that most pundits viewed as a less than subtle way to stress voters that Christie was overweight.
It's one of the most difficult things I've had to deal with in my life, Christie said about his weight during the campaign. But I don't see how it's relevant to my being governor. I was a really good U.S. attorney, and I was struggling with it for those 7 years, he said. It's just who I am, unfortunately. Corzine, who nearly died after an April 2007 high-speed motorcade accident on the Garden State Parkway in Atlantic County, later said he should have used a different phrase in the ad, which focused on Christie's conduct as a federal prosecutor. Last year, as Christie's national profile began to rise, particularly as a possible Republican contender for the White House, his weight was the subject of more negative attention. Chris Matthews, the outspoken MSNBC cable television host, called Christie Moon over New Jersey. Adding he should not wear white shirts. And Ed Schultz, another MSNBC host, called Christie a cold-hearted fat slob. A more accurate determination.
You know, I think a political satire artist should do a drawing of Chris Christie barbecuing the poor and the homeless on a rotisserie with an apple in their mouth. You know, like showing Christie resorting to cannibalism as a way to eliminate the poor.
Jeez.
You know, and have him as big as rotund, make him more rotund than he is, and give him a gluttonous, ravenous look on his face. I think a political satire artist should attempt this. It will be perfect, you know, for one of the New Jersey newspapers, maybe the Newark Star Ledger, or the Bergen Record. You know, go for it.
But earlier this year, Christie said his 3 days per week routine with a personal trainer was starting to pay off in weight loss.
Personal trainer? Yeah, this is the exercise he does. Hold on for a second. Pretend my shillelagh is a big giant fork or a spoon. Are you ready? On my count, begin. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, like Homer Simpson, you know, and 5, and then switch hands.
And then he forgets that, wait a minute, he forgets...
And 1, and 2. What?
And he forgets the most important one, pushing himself away from the table.
Oh, that's for his chest, shoulders, and triceps. No, you don't... No, wait a minute. He'll push himself away from the table in order for his servants to bring more food.
Or loosen his belt.
Or loosen his belt, put more food on the dining room table, and then he can go back in and continue with his repetitions with the big giant spoon. That's what his personal trainer probably does.
That means his biceps will be buff, right?
His biceps and
He'll be really cut there on the bicep.
Oh yeah, real cut. A lot of definition. No, the only cuts and is in the budget for poor and middle class people in the state of New Jersey. Not cuts on his body.
No,
not definition.
The only cuts he does for himself are with a fork and a knife.
Yeah, when he cuts his prime probably
rib.
aged Black Angus steaks and makes the taxpayers pay for it too. You know, all the food that normally, all the funds that normally would help food pantries and food banks or whatever would probably go to his stash of the finest food money can buy that I'm sure Chris Christie has. Not to mention wine cellar. I bet he has a wine cellar maybe on the tax dole, right?
Anyway, he wouldn't tell Today Show host Ann Curry how many pounds he'd lost, but added, "We're moving in the right direction, so it's good." Now, if he wouldn't tell, then obviously he's lying. Because wouldn't he be proud to state that I've lost 7, 8, 10 pounds?
True. Well, when he tells somebody to mind their own damn business, isn't that a way of him hiding some truth also? Like that, the woman at the town hall meeting?
Of course, yeah.
Who mentioned about his kids going to private school?
Yeah, it's none of her business.
None of your business. That means he's avoiding the subject.
That's right. I feel better, he told Curry during the February interview. What's most important is I started to do this because I have 4 children between 7 and 17, and I want to be here for them.
Very selfless man, right? Very selfless. Sure.
Christie also discussed his weight with CNN host Piers Morgan during the interview last month. I'm really struggling. Been struggling for a long time with it, Christie said.
Yeah.
And I know that it would be better for my kids if I got it more under control.
Oh, gosh.
Why don't you just cut the carbs, man?
Well, he probably is receiving the same orthodoxy American Dietetic Association mumbo-jumbo that Oprah Winfrey was receiving. You know, that fats are bad. All fats are bad, and carbs were good for you, you know, and not realizing that only the carbohydrates found in natural high fiber foods were appropriate carbohydrates and not refined. It's obvious by his waistline that his obsession is with refined carbohydrates.
Well, the point of it is
addiction.
In these interviews took place like back in February. So February, March, April, May, June, July. You're talking 6 months here. Don't you think he'd be down at least 10, 15 pounds?
Yeah.
I mean, on Atkins, you can lose two pounds a week.
Well, I know.
That's 8, 16. That's 32. That's 40. That's 48 pounds.
Yeah, that's the Atkins. The Atkins ketogenic, high protein, low carbohydrate diet. But you have to keep your essential fatty acids high to balance your blood sugar, so you don't get the munchies, you know, and you don't pass out. Whatever. He is. And obviously, Chris Christie is a victim of the yo-yo syndrome X. You know, the insulin resistance.
Definitely.
Yeah, because body fat accumulation from high blood sugar is notorious that they have most of their weight in the midsection.
He's probably pre-diabetic right now.
Possibly, yeah. And well, men have a tendency to lose excess body fat faster than women. Women have a tendency to retain it more. You know, I guess it's genetically, you know. But anyway, you got to get keto sticks, and he's got to go ketogenic. He's getting the wrong advice.
Right.
Obviously.
Later on in the same interview, Morgan got Christie's daughter, Sarah, to talk about her father's health. I just want him to be healthy, and I think he'd be happier, she said. It'd just be one less thing people could say about him.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't think... If Chris Christie was as thin as Anthony Weiner, I think people will still have a lot of negative things to say about Chris Christie because of his...
Because he has done a lot of negative things.
Because he's just a meanie.
Yeah.
He's just a meanie.
A bully and a meanie. What the hell?
He's a bully and a meanie, and no compassion, and he's a corporatist, and blah, blah, blah. So if he was as skinny as Brother Weiner... Anthony Weiner, it wouldn't matter. People will still have plenty of material. We would still have plenty of material
Those
on
things
Chris
have
Christie.
no pounds associated with them.
Yeah, no correlation. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to go to promo, and then we're going to continue. We're back from break. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, my co-host and mentor, is partaking in his lunch. And I think he's eating rigatoni of some kind.
Yep.
Rigatoni. Is the word?
One of my fave pastas.
Yeah, it's a large tubular pasta with ridges on the outside. The name rigatoni, does it come from rigor mortis? the Italian word for rigor mortis, which is the, you know, well, not like the shillelagh, but well, it can be. You know, it's rigid. If you dry rigatoni is rigid. Maybe it means rigor mortis in Italian. I don't know. I'm just making this stuff up. Time for promo. See this guy next to me? This is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. You can view the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's collection of fine watercolor art, his gallery, by going to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile or going to www.newslettercensored.com. If you like something that you see, send him an email, and if it's still available, you can purchase an original signed by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The bidding starts at $500 each, and he is working on 2 abstracts aside from the one I showed you last week, which I'll show you again briefly. Is one abstract done? The one that's signed, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll show you one. All right. Beautiful abstract painting. Am I holding it properly, camera person? You see it? This is a brand new abstract painting by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Beautiful colors. All right. Got that? All right. And then I'll show you the one more time, because he might have modified it a little bit. Maybe he didn't, but nevertheless, I'll show it to you briefly again. This is the personal assistant to the Wizard Ozzy Bucco, one of our fine co-workers. This is Esmeralda, and it is a fine watercolor portrait of Esmeralda, okay, that he did. He completed officially this past week, I believe. Am I holding this properly also?
Oh yeah.
In view? Okay, that's Esmeralda. It's done. It's ready to be scanned, so it will be seen on the internet in his Facebook profile album of watercolor painting. I guess we would call it a gallery, because they're not photographs, even though they are JPGs. Give it a little classier name. Call it a gallery. For you jabronis out there that have no class, would not know a gallery if it hit you in the face. Anyway, this one is, the other one is still being worked on, sir.
Yeah.
So we'll save that for next time. All right, here's the backbone of our organization, of course. I was reading Bible verses from it at the beginning of the show. Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. This newsletter is the underground media. It's the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? It contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. There is more information in the newsletter than there is in our talk shows or on our websites. You need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative. You need Newsletter Censored to survive the end times. We are living in the end times, and you need Newsletter Censored, believe me. This newsletter is unlike anything out there in the media or the press, because you're not going to read this type of information in the mainstream media or the press. So go to www.newslettercensored.com, read all of the hard-hitting information contained there, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. And don't forget to check out Dr. Bill for President. Yes, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman has thrown his hat, literally and figuratively. Blah, blah. his cowboy hat, into the race as an independent, progressive liberal candidate for the presidency of 2012. It's on the website, newslettercensored.com, Dr. Bill for President. Read it. And you will have to do a write-in in order to vote for the Reverend Dr. Bill. And part of his candidacy, aside from his very fair and logical and compassionate approach, which is his approach is very unpolitical, because he believes in the real hard-hitting truth, which is you need to take money out of politics. And a qualified person for governor, congressman, senator, or president should not necessarily be the wealthiest, because and not necessarily has to be the wealthiest, because
it hasn't worked too well, has it?
No, the politician with the most money that can afford to campaign and have commercials bombard you is usually the one that is in bed with corporations and elitists, because that's where he or she gets their money from to campaign. So the problem is you have to take the money out of politics. But the qualified independents do not get invited to the presidential debates, because the media is also bought off by the fat cats, just like the politicians. Is that an accurate theory?
Well, yeah, but they the media seems to, they're lazy, number one.
Yeah.
They seem to like a two-way horse race. See?
Yeah, explain that, please.
Well, what if they had like 12 horses in the race?
A dozen? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like that. It's not clean. It's not concise.
Oh, they don't like competition.
Ah.
Like Vincent Kennedy McMahon of the WWE. They hate competition. They want to monopolize and control everything. And of course, turn mainstream planet Earth. I used to say just mainstream America, but since we're living in the end times and the global corporate plutocracy is a global issue, they want to enslave mainstream planet Earth, just like it says in the end times. And anyway, I'm sorry. I usually go into more depth with the newsletter. At the beginning of the newsletter, we have the political analysis by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. In this case, the new issue is "This country was never a Christian nation," followed by, if there's room, sometimes you will find tidbits, which is more or less current news topics that are applicable to the 5 taboos of American life. But this is a long article, so there's no room. Then you have The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. And this article is called The Sin of Job, which is self-righteousness. All right? And here, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman will tell you what the Bible really says, not what counterfeit Christian fake phony fraud, right-wing fundamentalist conservatives tell you what the Bible says. They're trying to rewrite the Bible. No. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman will explain to you what the Bible really has to say, and not what the counterfeit Christian conservatives would like you to know what the Bible says. Right?
And would like the Bible to say.
Yeah, and this includes every Sunday, probably more or less, well, it's different, but I think it's one of the most important shows that we do here at Mega Life 21, which is the God Project every Sunday on our internet talk radio station, every Sunday. Right now the schedule is 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we often go overtime. And lately we have been. And you just go to newslettercensored.com and click on the link at the top of the front page to go to our hard-hitting internet talk radio station. And you, tomorrow, Sunday, you will hear the Reverend Dr. Bill with the God Project. You know, can't miss that theme song, The Ride of the Valkyries. And then last but not least, Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, PhD. All right? And this is a real long one. So anyway, that's the newsletter. And I just want to give some tips to people. Hold on. Let me make myself a little useful here. I want to give some consumer tips. You know, I realize in the United States, I'm a seafood lover, but I love good food. I love barbecue. But let's talk about seafood. Seafood restaurants in the United States are a huge ripoff, but then again, what industry in this capitalist system is not a huge ripoff? But seafood, they really screw you with the prices of fish. I want to mention two really good tips. In your area, if you happen to have some buffets, usually owned by Chinese people, they call them international buffets, check them out. The one by me, I go for the lunch buffet locally, and it's like, with the coupon, it's like $8 all you can eat for lunch. I find high quality seafood in the buffet, much cheaper than you would ever pay in a seafood restaurant. So screw Red Lobster and screw legal seafood. And another great seafood value is White Castle. People don't realize that White Castle, besides the great little hamburgers they make, has fantastic fried clams and codfish nuggets. And they also have now, instead of regular white potato French fries, they have sweet potato French fries. So what I do is I get a sack of fried clams, which is the equivalency of the amount of fried clams that you get in a seafood restaurant and pay over $10 for. And I get that for like a few bucks. You know, double order, they call it a sack. I get a sack of fried clams, and I get a sack of, a large order of sweet potato fries, and there's my fish and chips. If I want to get codfish nuggets, well, actually it's Alaskan pollock, which is a cod, but it's great. And it's the same battered frozen fried clams that seafood restaurants get, even Friendlies for those of you in the Northeast, and you have to pay through the nose for a fried clam dinner. Just go to White Castle and check it out, man. As long as they fry it for about a minute. You don't want them to overcook seafood when they're deep fried, because it dries out, because fish has a large percentage of water in it. Anyway, that's my consumer tip for the week. Sometimes I come up with some pretty good advice. And all right, continuing with the newspaper articles.
We have a modern-day Nero in our midst who wants to control our lives and burn our state to the ground.
You said hero or Nero?
Nero.
Nero. Oh, the Roman emperor that fiddled while
Rome burned.
How did Rome burn?
And
if
then
it was
burned the Christians. I mean, blamed the Christians.
Blame the Christians. How does Rome burn if it was mostly like stone and marble and granite and everything?
Good question.
I always wondered how Rome burned back then.
Governor Christie wants to close our schools and our libraries and lay off thousands of our teachers.
All right. So how do mainstream kids learn anything? Please explain.
Republicans do not want them to learn. You have to understand that. They want them to go to homeschooling or a school under the auspices of a church of some kind.
Oh, sure.
So that they can learn only their biblical view. Intelligent design.
Brainwashing?
Creationism. Of course, brainwashing.
and they don't want the masses to be too educated. So
No,
they want
they have an antipathy towards science.
so they want to create a bunch of drones, a bunch of automaton. I mean, you know, a bunch of drones that are not too educated. It's like they don't want people. They don't want any highly intelligent, progressive, liberal individuals with an open mind.
Open mind, forget about it. Woo.
That are smart and
Dirty words,
enough
dirty
to
words.
challenge authority.
Dirty words.
They want a bunch of suckers. They want a bunch of lemmings. They want a bunch of almost like living androids to do their bidding. Slaves, corporate. You think they're setting things up for corporate slaves in the end times?
Absolutely. What do you think this fight over the minimum wage is all the time about? You never want to raise it.
So
It hasn't been. The wages have not gone up in 30 years.
So by privatizing public education, and lowering taxes on the rich, not that they pay any taxes anyway, they want to keep, they want to dumb down the mainstream so they can set them up for the future cogs, whatever, slaves for the corporations, for the elitists, fat cats.
Want to return to a like a feudalistic society that we once had with kings and serfs.
So when the children of middle class and poor people can't get a good education, I guess they want you to pay for your child's education out of pocket.
And that of course will only allow education, as it did in the old days, for those who have money.
So therefore, most mainstream kids won't get a good education.
There you go.
And they'll end up working in a factory, or a farm, or a fast food restaurant, or Walmart.
And maybe we'll go back to the days of 12-hour work days and children
For minimum wage.
7, 6 years old.
For minimum wage and no benefits whatsoever.
Well, less than minimum wage.
And no
they'll
health
be in
care?
control. It will be whatever they say.
Yeah. Well, what if people don't want to roll out of bed and go to work for $2 an hour?
Debtor's prison.
Put me in
Some
jail.
other kind of FEMA camp.
Whatever.
Concentration camp, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Or, as is happening right now, the mental health organizations
Yeah.
will probably take over that kind of stuff, because they the new DSM 4 or 5, whatever the hell it is, has diseases that are made up,
Syndromes?
syndromes that are made up, and so they'll have something to maybe medicate you, you know. There you go.
Like, remember Ed Norton?
Zombies.
Ed Norton on The Honeymooners, when Ed Norton had a sleepwalking problem. Lulu! Remember that? Lulu! You'd be walking around like, you know, spaced out, like zombies. So you can accept their brainwashing, their Joseph Goebbels crap. You know, their fascist conservative brainwashing. Oh, so you'll be medicated, so you'll be susceptible to their brainwashing.
Yeah. Brave New World.
So you learn a lot on our show.
Fahrenheit 451.
That's right.
Soylent Green.
Soylent
These are
Green.
all classics that are very important for people to have in their brains.
Mainstream America is figuratively. I have trouble with that word. Getting the shillelagh, the stiff shillelagh, deeply up their ass with no lubrication. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. You people continue to vote two-party system. And I don't know what got into the people last November when they voted for a Republican Congress, a conservative Congress. I'll tell you what got into them. They believed the Tea Party lies. They believe, I'll tell you again, you dummies, it was Ronald Reagan who shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor. It was not all the so-called liberal tax and spend like a drunken sailor and pork barrel, all this crap. No, it was not the fault of the Democratic Party. It was the fault of the demon Reagan, who shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor, and that's it. And the
look at how well that propaganda plays today. All revenues were off the table and all this bargaining going on.
You're still paying the bulk of the taxes. The tax burden, despite the Republican Congress that you people voted for last November, the tax burden is still on the backs of the middle class. It hasn't left. The rich are still paying no taxes, even though they lie to you and you believe that they are paying most of the taxes, like some of these idiots that answer me on YouTube that tell me, oh, the rich are unfairly paying the bulk of the taxes. It's a 100% lie. It's a flat-out lie, and you believed it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yep.
Because how could...
But even so, they were paying most of the taxes back when they were paying 91%.
Yeah.
So
listen,
the more money you make, the more taxes you pay. It's quite simple.
Yeah, listen, if you're making under 250 grand, listen, if you're middle class or poor, voting for a conservative does not have your best interest at heart. They will never have your best interest at heart because they're all for the rich. They're all for the elitists. So I don't know why you bother to vote for them. Are you that stupid? You don't see, what's going on? The proof is in the pudding. Open your eyes. Wake up, America. And that might be a good title for the next show. Wake up, foolish America, before it's too late. Not bad.
Anyway,
continue.
Christie wants to cut salaries, lay off our police officers and our firefighters, close hospitals, lay off nurses, and break all unions. Yet, he has on his payroll 34 people who receive a salary and do nothing. He calls 10 of them, earning more than $100,000 each,
oh gosh,
policy advisors. Who are they? He calls 9 of them
policy advisors,
council assistants. They earn more than $120,000 per year.
Despicable.
Who are they?
Despicable.
He calls others aides to the governor.
Oh, yeah.
They earn more than $140,000 per year.
Cronyism.
Who are they?
Crony.
Each has a staff of people on the state payroll. And what about his entourage? People who follow him around, eat, drink, and ride in his cars, all at our expense. Millions of dollars could be saved if he got rid of these people. But he probably won't. The rich take care of the rich. Unions have the power to destroy this modern Nero and his rich friends before they destroy us. How? If all union leaders got together and acted as one in a general strike, no one goes to work. Police and firefighters work only in emergencies. Let the strike start today. Tomorrow is too late. They did it in Poland and they won.
I really dig this article. Who wrote this beautiful, genius article?
A gentleman named Peter Fantozzi.
Brilliant.
From Clifton.
Peter Fantozzi of Clifton, New Jersey. We salute you. A job well done. Outstanding article. All right, now you understand why it doesn't matter if Christie was as skinny as Anthony Weiner, former New York congressman. You understand there's a lot more serious reasons to criticize and scorn Chris Christie than his rotund obesity. It's the least of his problems. I mean, as far as, reputation. All right, what do we got here? Anything good here?
One of the world's most famous fossil creatures, widely considered the earliest known bird, is getting a rude present on the 150th birthday of its discovery.
You better be careful Chris Christie doesn't barbecue it and eat it.
A new analysis suggests it isn't a bird at all.
What is it?
Chinese scientists are proposing a change to the evolutionary family tree that boots Archaeopteryx off the bird branch and onto a closely related branch of bird-like dinosaurs.
You mean like pterodactyls? Pterodactyls?
Archaeopteryx
Yeah.
was a crow-sized creature that lived about 150 million years ago.
That's small?
It had wings and feathers, but also quite unbird-like traits like teeth and a bony tail.
I love to have it in a bird cage as a pet.
Discovered in 1861 in Germany,
Yeah.
2 years after Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species, it quickly became an icon for evolution and has remained popular since. The Chinese scientists acknowledge they have only weak evidence to support their proposal, which hinges on including a newly recognized dinosaur. Other experts say the change could easily be reversed by further discoveries. And while it might shake scientific understanding within the bird lineage, they said, it doesn't make much difference for some other evolutionary questions. Archaeopteryx dwells in a section of the family tree that's been reshuffled repeatedly over the past 15 or 20 years and still remains murky. It contains the small, two-legged dinosaurs that took the first steps towards flight. Fossil discoveries have blurred the distinction between dinosaur-like birds and bird-like dinosaurs, with traits such as feathers and wishbones no longer seen as reliable guidelines.
What is the wishbone? Is it the sternum?
Down in here,
In the crotch?
in the
No. Oh, the wishbone is towards the end of the spinal area. It's in the pelvic.
Yeah, it's by the ass.
Really?
Or in a case of a bird, it's called the cloaca.
The cloaca. So it's not part of the sternum. It's not in the
No.
in the breast area. The wishbone. I like birds. I always did.
Birds have been so embedded with this group of small dinosaurs, it's very difficult to tell who is who. The proposed reclassification of Archaeopteryx
Yeah.
wouldn't change the idea that birds arose from this part of the tree, but it could make scientists reevaluate what they think about evolution within the bird lineage itself. Much of what we've known about the early evolution of birds has, in a sense, been filtered through Archaeopteryx.
Yeah.
The new analysis is presented in today's issue of the journal Nature. The result was a tree that grouped Archaeopteryx with Deinonychosaurs,
Yeah.
two-legged meat eaters that are evolutionary cousins to birds.
The modern day descendants of Chris. I mean the ancient descendants of Chris Christie.
But that result appeared only when the analysis included a previously unknown dinosaur that's similar to Archaeopteryx, which the researchers dubbed Zhaitingya Zenge.
Cool, man. I could dig it.
It was
no
about-
pun intended. Archaeology. I could dig it.
it was the size of a chicken when it lived some 160 million years ago.
You're trying to make me hungry, man, talking about chicken now?
Julia Clark of the
Popeyes.
University of Texas, who did not participate in the study, said the reclassification appeared to be justified by current data.
So
But she emphasized the study dealt with poorly understood section of the evolutionary tree, and that more fossil discoveries could very well shift Archaeopteryx back to the bird branch. Anyway, moving in a couple of branches isn't a huge change, and whether it's considered a bird or not is mostly a semantic issue that doesn't greatly affect larger questions about the origin of flight, she said.
Well, I know that birds are more closely related to dinosaurs than reptiles. And birds, it's amazing that usually cold-blooded animals are hatched from an egg, but birds, on the other hand, are warm-blooded creatures. That's what makes them unique, in my opinion. They're warm-blooded, but they hatch from an egg. They lay eggs and hatch from eggs.
Well, they also seem to believe that some dinosaurs were warm-blooded.
That's true, because they have bones. There's a connection between the type of bones that birds have and some dinosaurs.
Birds have hollow bones, so that they're light, so they can fly.
Okay. Which is the nature of some dinosaurs. But interesting. Any Washington-related articles like
Not yet.
the scumbag Congress and
Oh, that's just a big sham and play.
The whole thing that's going
I wouldn't
on.
give it any credence whatsoever.
like, in other words, is there any article about that so-called debt debate between Barack Obama and
Yeah.
Weeper of the House?
That's what I'm saying. It's all a sham. It's all a play. It's a drama play. It's all drama queening going
Spectacle,
on.
circus spectacle.
Spectacle. It's the Tea Party people who do not. They are naive. They are like children. They do not understand the workings of government, nor their job where they are. And now this is what has happened. They are up against some realities which they do not understand, and their ideology prevents them from learning.
So what you're
That's what we have.
So what you're saying is the Tea Party members, whether they be politicians or just the general public, are in fact political morons?
Absolutely, they do not understand compromise because their ideology prevents it.
Maybe they're not only political morons, but maybe they are possibly all-round morons?
Well, they are there for one reason and one reason only. And this you haven't heard on the lamestream media.
I like that. Lame stream media. Cool.
They are there to destroy the United States government, to make it small enough, as Grover Nordquist have said hundreds of times, to drown it in the bathtub. They are haters.
And they want to turn the U.S. Constitution, they want to make it obsolete.
Well, they do not obey it. They,
But they
just
don't, yeah.
pretend that they do for you to obey.
Well, they don't obey the real Bible,
Well, that's the same thing.
the God of the
They
Bible,
want
the
the
real
Ten-
Bible.
They
don't.
want the Ten Commandments in schools, and they want it in courtrooms and everything for you to obey, not them.
Do as I say, not as I do.
That's correct.
Hypocrisy, right?
Yes.
Well, didn't God get pretty pissed off on more than one occasion concerning hypocrites?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why he's punishing the United States right now. It's because of such hypocrisy.
He first
They're claiming
Yeah.
to worship the God of the Bible, but they have not the God of the Bible.
Well, the first victim of the curse was Great Britain, right? The other modern day
Well,
descendant.
the curse begins in, all at the same
the
time.
British-
There's no
What I
something
mean
one
is,
out.
first the British lost their empire,
Correct.
and now America
Got its empire.
got
now
its
is losing
empire and is now losing it.
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think Esmeralda read an article somewhere where it says that that some corporations actually have a lot more money than the United States government?
Well, they have the money because the Federal Reserve gave it to them. Well over $16 trillion was doled out to Wall Street and banks around the world, etc., etc.
Corporate.
Did you get any of it? Did Main Street get any of it? Did the poor get any of it? No. So that the consumer doesn't have the money, so he cannot purchase and make the economy better. Correct?
Corporate welfare.
And all these people are holding on to the moolah.
Corporate welfare.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good welfare. But welfare for the poor, or to help the middle class, you know,
yeah,
that's bad. According to
well, that's what you get when you like Obama hired the people who actually caused the problems.
Well, they do what they do simply because they can.
Yes, they get away with it.
That's why corporations do what they do, because they can and they get away with it. And people who are too lazy to investigate and research just keep on believing the lie and keep on voting in the same corporatists to Congress, Senate, or governor, or president. You know, they just keep on doing it over and over and over and over. And what are we talking about? There's a definition of insanity. People who keep on repeating the same thing over and over again with no change.
Expecting a different result.
Expecting a different result.
Yeah.
Is insanity. Well, so call it insanity. Call it being a foolish lemming. The American public, well, who said it? Grover Cleveland, that the people will receive exactly the kind of government that they deserve.
Well, that's what has happened because of lazy people, you know, who have never sought out the truth and looked for it and everything like that, and they've allowed this thing to happen.
And of course, the things that we talk about here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey are not getting anywhere near the amount of hits as such things as the Duck Song.
Duck Song 2.
Or any of the music industry no talent bums that are out there becoming millionaires by stealing other people's songs and remaking other people's work, you know, or some stupid, asinine, ridiculous video that's getting hundreds of thousands or millions of hits. Oh no, but something that's important like this is not getting anywhere near the amount of hits. And it's like, I guess we are living in the end times, Dr. Bill. It's prophesized that things are going to go down. It's not prophesized that things are going to get better. So I guess if...
Isaiah also prophesies that we will be led by children and women.
Well, the great...
A la the Tea Party.
The Tea Party. Well, the great white horse of the apocalypse, false religion, false prophets, is alive and well in the 21st century as of now.
Like a poodle on a leash.
Yeah.
A tiny asteroid runs ahead of Earth on the planet's year-long strolls around the sun. The discovery of this companion, which measures only about 300 yards across, makes Earth the fourth planet in the solar system that is known to share its orbit with an asteroid. Imagine Earth and the asteroid traveling around a clock face, with the sun in the middle. Generally, the asteroid runs about 2 numbers ahead. However, the asteroid sometimes ranges so far ahead that it is on the opposite side of the sun from the Earth. It is reported that Asteroids are giant space rocks that orbit the sun, and ones that share an orbit with a planet are called Trojans.
Yeah, nothing, no relation to the Trojan condom commercial. Trojan
Fire knives? The Trojan fire knives?
It's ridiculous, stupid ass commercial. Stupid.
For
stupid.
people who like hot songs, maybe?
I think people's sexual life and experiences should remain private, like in the old days.
Scientists had previously found a few for Mars and Neptune, and nearly 5,000 for Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Spotting one in Earth's orbit is difficult from the ground because the potential locations are generally in the daytime sky.
Uh-huh.
The newfound object, called 2010 TK7, was discovered last year by NASA's WISE Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Donald K. Yeomans, manager of NASA's Near-Earth Object Program Office, agreed that the asteroid is a Trojan. Most scientists suspected Earth had them, he said. I would guess there's others.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, besides condom, there's also a Trojan that infiltrates and tries to sabotage your computer. Computer, it's a form of virus, right?
Yeah.
Trojan. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh, that's right. I have to forward one of our employees some information for possibly the second Linux lingo talk for next Saturday. Got some Linux lingo, some computer talk, and oh, you know what I heard? I heard that Apple is doing really, really well, and has surpassed, or is beating out Microsoft and everybody. Actually, Apple is doing, as a corporation, is doing really, really well. They're of course, Google owns Android, right, for the smartphones, but Apple as a company is skyrocketing.
Their iPad is going nuts.
The iPad, yeah, is going nuts. That's probably what it is, you know. But I happen to think their product is extremely overpriced, but nevertheless
overpriced, and I don't think people understand that it will not, I repeat, will not replace your computer.
You mean the tablets, the iPads, the smartphones, well, the tablet might someday replace the laptop.
In its present
someday.
In its present form, it will not replace your computer.
Because there are certain qualities that the PC has that the tablet cannot.
For instance,
yeah,
without special application and then another application such as GoToMeeting to access your computer, the iPad cannot get you to chat, for instance.
No?
No.
Yeah, but people...
Now, can it download Java and Flash? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but people chat with me all the time via their Blackberries and smartphones on Facebook.
I know
they do.
That they can go to Yahoo
and instant message,
yeah,
and Facebook
in their form, but
yeah,
they cannot. I know of a personal experience here where they cannot go to chat.
Okay.
Now that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they can, need to download Java and Flash, which are important for those chat sites.
Yes. I don't.
Otherwise, maybe they have a certain application to allow you to be able to do these things, but in its present form, as you take it out of the box, it cannot do so.
Well, the memory in these, yeah, but the memory in these tablets are extremely impressive. You know, the CPU ability and the memory in these tablets, and you know, with the touch screen, you know, have come a long way. They're very impressive. I mean, what they deliver. I mean, I remember the first PC. What is that piece of crap? That dinosaur, the Compact Prosario. You know that
the first one
dinosaur.
Was IBM, wasn't it?
IBM, yeah, but I mean, at one time, 40 gigabytes hard drive was considered big. At that time, 40's nothing. It's a drop in a bucket.
I had 6.
6 gig. So I mean, that's not counting the microscopically pathetic RAM memory that the PCs had back then. It was horrible, and the CPUs were feeble, you know. But now, I mean, they come a long way.
Those were the days.
Huh?
Those were the days.
And now the only thing with a tablet, just like with a laptop, it's a good idea to get that laptop fan that they sell to put underneath it, because you don't have the space that you have normally.
Circulation. You need
air circulation that you have in a PC, which is another great thing about a PC. Another good thing, like my PC is a jacked up mega PC made by our people, our IT team, our IT director, who works with me to put together Linux lingo. And that particular PC has like 8 gigabytes of memory. I have 2 big hard drives in one computer. I have a great CPU. The reason why I have 2 hard drives is just in case something happens, I lose the hard drive with the programs and not the data. The data is on the second hard drive. I think it's like 750 gig with the data, and I think 500 something whatever for the programs. So anyway, it's jacked up with big fans, extra large fans, extra space in a larger acrylic see-through case. I mean, the photos are on in the Facebook photo album, Megalife 21, and it's great. It's great, but you can't duplicate that super mega computer in a tablet or a laptop. So I think it's convenience. What do you think?
I think it's convenience too, but
it's convenience, portability.
What do you do? You can't put it in a pocket.
No, you can put it in a sort of a little case, you know.
It's not out of a case because it doesn't have a handle that I've seen.
No, it goes in a little case, like a little, like, you know, like a laptop case, but smaller. You know, so what it is it's portability. You know, of course, another excuse for Americans to walk around, you know, hypnotized by their
the keyboard on those things. Come on,
walking around. Meanwhile, the truck runs them over. People don't even notice their environment. They don't even notice the world anymore. You know, they're hypnotized by their smartphones and tablets. And
texting while driving.
There you go. I mean,
when I was a personal incident.
When I was a kid, I used to commune with the flora and the fauna of nature. I used to do things, go fishing and do cool stuff as a kid, and you know, I was outdoors a lot. But you know, now they're all like momos, like, you know, hypnotized by that high technology. Not to mention the violent video games that kids love so much. You know, that's setting a bad example. But anyway, as a last article, do we have a dandy?
We have a Christie.
Well, we do. Well, we're on a roll picking on Chris Christie. We might as well end the show picking on Chris Christie.
When Governor Christie arrived in Des Moines,
Iowa,
to speak at an education conference and headline a political fundraiser for Congressman wealthy Republican donors, will be watching his every move for a sign. Just one perceived wink or a little nod In Iowa, the starting gate for choosing a president will send hopeful supporters into a frenzy.
Of course, they're wealthy Republican donors.
Of course. Christie insists he isn't running in 2012. But even his joking reference to threatening suicide hasn't influential Republicans from asking, hasn't stopped them, if he's serious about sitting out the race. Disappointment with the Republican field, Christie's quick rise to fame, his ability to entertain and keep himself in the public eye have backers insisting he is the politician with the best chance of toppling President Obama.
Yeah, literally toppling him with that weight. He'll give him like Haystacks Calhoun, or what do you call Yokozuna. He'll squash him. He'll squash poor
Obama
thin Obama.
Against the sumo Christie.
Yeah, it'll be like Pee Wee Herman up against a sumo wrestler. Of course he'll topple him. I know what Christie's up to. He wants to get, he keeps on saying no about running in 2012, but he wants to get to the point where he's so damn popular that they beg him.
They draft him.
They draft him. They literally beg him, so he has control. He's playing a psychological power game here. He's slick. He's slicker than you think. Continue.
As I talk to some people around the country, they're not sure we have a candidate who can win.
Right.
Candace Strait, a prominent New Jersey Republican who raises funds for the party, said of the current field. I don't think that anybody in the Republican field has shown that this is the person who is going to beat Obama. Christie first attracted widespread attention when he ousted incumbent John Corzine, a victory some leading Republicans believe Christie can repeat on the national level. I would do backflips if he would run, said Paulette Pyle. In May, a half-dozen Iowans traveled to the governor's mansion in Princeton to make their case.
I'm sure Christie can't do backflips.
But to no avail.
Unless he waved enough money in front of him, maybe.
And just last week,
Food.
Ken Langon gathered in Manhattan to urge Christie on again. But again he declined. The dissatisfaction with the Republican field can be seen in lukewarm poll numbers and the lack of a clear forerunner with the ability to energize voters. For now, the pack of Republican hopefuls is led by former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, Representative Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota. Remind me when I'm finished here, speaking of Minnesota, about Mr. Franken.
Oh yeah, we haven't heard from Al Franken. Senator Al Franken was very talkative when he had the syndicated, nationwide radio show on Air America, and writing all those liberal books. We heard a lot from Al Franken, but not after he got elected senator. He dummied up. Anyway, continue.
It also includes a couple of other ex-governors, Tim Pawlenty of Minnesota, John Huntsman of Utah, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, the Salamander, former U.S. Senator Rick Santorum,
Oh boy.
and Herman Cain, the former chief executive of Godfather's Pizza. Republicans are also waiting to see if former Governor Sarah Palin of Alaska and the three-term governor of Texas, Rick Perry, will enter the race.
I forgot my slide whistle. He mentioned Sarah Palin.
Until a candidate catches fire, donors will keep knocking at Christie's door.
Rick Perry, is any relation to the singer Kate Perry?
Rick Perry has said that if he gets elected as president, he will turn the nation into Texas.
Oh, gee.
You know what Texas is today?
That's something to look forward to.
Exactly.
A right-wing, red state, redneck prototype for a corporate, for a Republican, conservative-controlled world. Is that what Texas is, sir?
And it's last on near last or last on everything important.
Mm-hmm.
It's also 95% drought-stricken. No rain.
Yeah.
Cows' carcasses lying around, etc., etc.
So the old
So he wants to
Western.
turn the United States into a Texas.
So the old Western movie with the Texas Longhorn skulls
And
sticking out of the sand and the tumbleweeds is literally what's happening in Texas.
Applicable, absolutely.
Oh, by the way, is Texas one of those southern Bible Belt red states that outlaw sex toys and sex shops?
Not sure whether it has outlawed sex toys, but
Alabama,
yes, sir.
a woman cannot buy a dildo. There are no sex shops
Vibrator.
and vibrators in Alabama.
Now they say, I've heard some of the young ladies talking on chat the other day, that you were saying that Spencer was out in the mall, right there in the hallways, selling the vibrators?
Yeah, we saw. They noticed that.
Yes, they did.
That on the show, me talking, ba.
No. I'm talking amongst chat groups of people.
Yes.
Who say it's happening in other places.
Yes. Spencer Gifts in the shopping mall has dildos, but they don't come out and call them dildos. But you know, you could see what it is. It's a vibrator, but it's not. Let me explain. It's a phallic-like object, phallus-like object, but it is not like, you know, if you would go to a sex shop and you would see an artificial penis with all the detail. It is phallus-like. It is cigar-shaped and rather bulbous on the end.
And sold as a vibrator, a massage tool.
Yeah, what do they call them? Intimate personal massages? Massagers?
Yeah.
Intimate personal massagers.
Anyway, the other day, Mr. Franken was holding up a sign. I'm not sure whether he was in the Senate or where he was, but he was holding up a sign. And it said, welcome, what was it? Welcome traitors? Something of that nature.
Welcome traitors.
You know, at the Republicans. It was meant for the Republicans.
And the Republicans are traitors, but they're not traitors. They usually march in lockstep to their ideology.
Yeah, but they're traitors. Their traitorism,
Traitors to what?
their unpatriotism is to destroy the United States government.
Oh,
That's what this debt ceiling and deficit shit is all about.
Finally, Al Franken has come forth.
Said something anyway.
Not verbally,
No.
which I'm very shocked because he had a lot to say verbally, but you know, in the form of a sign. You know,
But did you hear anything about it on the mainstream media?
MSNBC or CNN or mainstream?
I forget where I even heard it.
You would
It certainly
think,
wasn't there.
You would think that Al Franken would be a mainstream, would be a very popular Democratic senator, in the media, since his background, you know, in entertainment and on talk radio, you know, and all the books he wrote. You would think he would be more sought after by the media, and people would try to interview Al Franken, but not so. They're avoiding Al.
Unless he's deliberately dummied up for some reason.
You think Al Franken...
Maybe being too controversial.
You think Al Franken... Oh, heaven forbid. A Democrat should be controversial and perhaps be loyal to his or her voters. Gee, Wouldn't that be like a shocker?
Unusual.
Unusual. But anyway,
I saw a cartoon. I believe it was in Hustler magazine.
yeah.
It was a doctor supposedly examining Barack Obama. And the doctor's looking at Barack Obama's back.
Yeah.
And he says, "Yes, Mr. President, you do have a spine."
Oh, he does? Does he?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's sarcastic. You mean a satiric comic?
Because we of the left have been saying that he has no spine. He caves like a house for, you know, your card analogy there.
Oh yeah, the red tie.
Or the camera.
The
Folds
red-
like a cheap camera.
Yeah, he folds like a cheap camera. He has to wear the red tie because he has to get the Republicans to like him. Bipartisanship, compromise.
Well, he did that already, didn't he? By extending the Bush tax cuts and then allowing that any compromise that comes up will not involve new taxes.
So
on the rich.
So doesn't he realize that by compromising with the right wing, he is turning his back on his voters traitorously?
I believe he does know that, and he doesn't care.
Do you think the subject of moolah might be involved in him not caring?
Our richest president is Mr. Bill Clinton.
So Bill
Who
Clinton.
damaged this country extremely.
So Bill Clinton, even though he had a surplus with the economy, was a corporatist. Just the same. So
He signed laws that did away with laws
yeah.
that protected us and would not have allowed the Wall Street to get away with what it did get away with, that caused the meltdown. So he was instrumental there. It goes back to Reagan. It was all cumulative.
Listen, this is proof. I'm ending the show telling you, this is proof that the two-party system is a fake, a phony, a fraud, a big lie. There is no, it's no liberal versus conservative anymore. They're all corporatists. They're all in bed with the elitists and the corporations. They're all bought out. And they just say what they have to say to get elected. So they feel your pain, when election time comes, they feel your pain, crocodile tears. And they get elected, and then they go like this. They give it,
and
yeah,
people
to you.
have this idea that it's only the two-party system. Who else am I going to vote for? You can vote for Mickey Mouse.
You know how many good people are independents that don't really get put in the public eye, in the limelight, that because the media is controlled by corporations, and they were out there. Believe me, they were out there. Hey, get behind. I mentioned something on Facebook. My dream team would be Gary Null and Jesse Ventura. Excellent dream team. Or Gary Null, Ralph Nader. What?
To do what?
An independent 2012 team?
Oh, Gary Null would never run.
He don't want it.
Hell no, we won't want that stuff.
But what does he do? Just complain on the Progressive Radio Network? He just complains?
Well, complains and gets people involved, and then
involved in what?
Things.
Are they going to get behind an independent candidate?
I mean, if you're president of the United States, just how much can you do?
Well, then people will continue to babble and type and leave messages on Facebook or Twitter, and they'll continue to listen to the Progressive Radio Network and complain, but nothing will get done because they'll probably turn around
you gotta
and vote for a Democrat.
Right, but you got to understand something.
That is not liberal. Yeah.
Our Constitution makes it very clear that the power in this country is in the hands of the people.
True.
The people are the boss. A president, a senator, a congressman works for the people. Now that's how it was set up. Now today, the corporations and the rich have stolen all of this. So I don't think a Gary Knoll would like to be in the position of a president who works for the people. He would rather be amongst the people.
Yeah, but somebody has to be in charge when they get elected. You know, voting for the lesser of the two evils, like Jesse Ventura said.
Yeah, well, we got to.
Why should we settle for the lesser of the two evils?
That's what we're getting rid of. So I'm saying, in an ideal sense, as it was set up, it's not like that today. The corporations and the haves own the country. The country,
True.
the country, not the people, the country. The government is not ours anymore.
No.
Okay? So when the Tea Party people say they want to take back their government,
Take back. Give it to who?
they already have it. Their government.
Their government is.
We need to take back our government.
But they're trying to I guess they're misrepresenting themselves, making it look like, you know, well, the fact that they're calling themselves the Tea Party, they're trying to make themselves look like
Patriot.
the Patriots during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
You know, like they're the people, but they're not.
How
They're
can they be the people if they're supported by the Koch brothers?
if you're part of the aristocracy, it's like the Revolutionary War Tea Party group saying that we're patriots, we're freedom fighters, we're this, we're the people, and in reality, they really work for King George of England.
There you go.
The elitists, the aristocracy. So it's a flat out lie. Why do you think I called it the Great American Hoax last week? It's a complete flat out lie, and people fell for it.
They keep falling for it.
The people keep on falling for it. And we, the people, who really are supposed to own this country, should not settle anymore. You don't have to settle, like Jesse Ventura says. Don't just settle, you know. But you got to get involved. Got to get involved, man. All right. Thank you for joining us.